Live, 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 live. We are live. Hello, greetings to anyone in here. George Washington, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Hail victory, long live, skull to you, my friend. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm sure more people will pop in here, but yep, time for the monthly Q&A here on my channel, where I answer community post questions that I post at the beginning of the month and then just free for all with the chat for about 2 hours. So, kind of the same template as always. Slow mode is on for me to be able to keep track of the chat and to keep the spam bots away. Anyone new entering, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Gen X Gemini, what's up, dude? Band shirt of the day. Zasther. Anyone who is a fan of more DSBM type black metal, notable albums, Telepathic with the Deceased and To Violate the Oblivious. Fantastic albums. Highly recommend. Also wearing Aposticum, one of the bands that I'm in, beanie today. We're getting more of these made at some point. But yeah, speaking of Aposticum, full-length album releases next Friday, November 21st. Sounding the Seven Horns. For any fans of blackened death metal out there. Did it upright, you know. Yeah, very excited for everyone to hear that album. So the Aposticum YouTube channel, full album stream, and then it goes up on Bandcamp and all the major streaming platforms and all that. We're getting that all done. So we'll have CDs apart from digital and all that. So sample question mark. We have a demo single that is on the Aposticum YouTube channel and some live footage kind of in there as well, videos, and then the single's also on Bandcamp. So Aposticum, Aposticum, a hybridized Latin word for the accusation of apostasy. Just 10B, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Also Pat Wright, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so demo single is out for one of the tracks that kind of got polished up and is on the upcoming full-length album that releases next week. I'll make another announcement of it. I did make one community post announcement about it so far, and then I'll do another one with attaching links and everything too. But yeah, if you just look up Aposticum on Bandcamp or YouTube, it'll pop right up. So, and again, band shirt of the day, Zesther, fantastic black metal. More on the depressive, somewhat lo-fi side of black metal, but really good stuff. I like Scott Connor's work. Anyways, getting some of those announcements and initial greetings out of the way, I only had 2 community post questions, so I'm going to answer those, and then free for all. I will just shoot the breeze with everyone here in the chat for about 2 hours. So just kind of hanging out, you know. Anyone new joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get through the community post questions real quick. I only got a couple, and then I'll just interact with the chat here. See the pinned comment for additional information. Otherwise, let me knock these out real quick, and then we'll just get to hanging out. First question from the community post is from Miklik. Always has great questions. Appreciate you, man. Turkey or ham? I like turkey more. I mean, I like ham. I like them both. They're both meat, you know. But especially for like the festive seasons and stuff, I actually usually do like Cornish hens. But turkey, you know, it's fantastic. Smoked turkey is so good. I like ham. Especially like, you know, like your Canadian ham or Canadian bacon, and of course bacon. Who doesn't love bacon, right? Unless you're, you know, not an American. But but yeah, I mean, I like them both. If it's like a big old ham hock, you know, like I I that's a secondary pick for me, under turkey as far as that goes for, like, festive food and things like that. I like them both, obviously, but, and ham is great for, sandwiches for days after and stuff, but yeah, turkey. I love me some turkey. George Washington bought some affordable grid fleece material and sewed it some Raid Mod M81 BDUs as a lark, and you kinda like it. That's awesome. Rainier Fabrics has, uh jersey fleece, for like hoodies and lighter fleeces and stuff, and then Montana wool, which is for your like heavier polar fleece and stuff. Rainier Fabrics has both those materials in my camo patterns. So if you wanted to make, you know, over jacket or whatever, you can. It's there as much as other material types for making ponchos and then soft goods gear for the DIYers and all that stuff. I mean, seems like you're getting pretty handy with the sewing, which is awesome. I love to see it and hear it. That makes me really happy. So that's awesome, dude. I dig it. Freaking keep at it. Um, and then ACR Protect. Andrew always has good questions, so I'll answer those real quick from the community post. Let's see. He says good morning. All right. Brain Busters. Favorite Thanksgiving food item? It might have to be stuffing. I'm not gonna lie. I love stuffing, and I can get gluten-free stuffing. I love stuffing. Um, I like everything in the typical Thanksgiving spread, though. I mean, whether it's green bean casserole or again turkey or ham and your cranberry sauce, whatever. It's all good. I like it all. It's all delicious. But stuffing is definitely up there at the top. I do love stuffing, and I will smash a lot of it. Dead Prepper, what's up, dude? Gen X, yeah. Andrew, he does. He always has good questions for me in the community post for the monthly Q&A. So, no, he's got good questions. So that was the first one. He always gives me a couple. Favorite Thanksgiving food item. So yeah, but stuffing's at the top of the list for sure. Scuba dive or skydive? I've skydived a couple of times. I like skydiving. Scuba diving, haven't done proper scuba. I've done, snorkeling and shallow water stuff, but like proper scuba, I have yet to do. So that's on my list of things to do in the future. Uh, but I mean, they're both fun in their respective contexts. I do enjoy skydiving. I've done it a couple of times, and thought about getting my A license. It's a little expensive though. But yeah, they're both fun. But skydiving I've done before. Haven't done proper scuba, so I have to say skydiving. But I do want to do scuba in the future. That's really cool. Um, Next question he had was, do you have any fall or winter camping trips or training planned? Um, Not really. I mean, I'll probably end up going up with my buddy to his cabin property with 80 acres at some point during the winter. We always do something during the winter up there for like a weekend or up to a week. Um, and just, hang out, train, and all that stuff. It's always a good time up there. So probably that at some point. Um, I can't remember if they're doing Winter Forge this year. I think they are. I don't think I'm attending though. Just money's just tight starting a new business. Um, but because I think they started doing it every other year now. Um, Other than that, not really. I mean, if people end up wanting to meet up and do stuff or whatever, like yeah, okay, cool. We can try and get something figured out for a weekend. But other than that, not really anything planned. Yeah, so that's it for the community post questions. So appreciate those. Get those knocked out. Talk with the peeps here in the chat now. Um, just got 20 boxes of stuffing on sale. Awesome. Yeah, dude. I love stuffing. 7-pound lamb leg dead prepper. That's awesome. Lamb is delicious. That's a great choice. You have a smoker? You gonna smoke it or what? How are you gonna prep it? Twin Arrows, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Tornado has got some questions, but too many for here. After the Light Fighters FTX, you have some questions about sleep gear in the cold and rain and a few other things. I mean, hey, throw them out, man. Slow mode is on, but you got questions, I'll answer them. That's what the Q&A here is for. Shooting the breeze, answering questions. I will say, and I've done a video on this before on sleep systems a while back on my channel. Especially during colder seasons like winter and stuff. Um, I use a civilian cold weather sleeping bag with the military bivy bag over it. Um, the civilian bag in a military bag, bivy bag. So it's a two component system instead of like three or whatever. It packs down it packs down slightly smaller than an IQWIX like extreme cold weather sleep system. So it packs down about the same size as you would expect a standard three-piece MSS to pack down for a winter rig. I like it. It's a lot more easy to use. And it's just a good quality bag, and then the bivy bag over it, and then ground pad down, to keep a barrier between you and the ground. And if you want to use a ground sheet too, if you have that option, do that as well, and then sleep pad on top of that, and then your sleep system on top of that. But otherwise, like, it's fairly simple. Um, my sleeping bag is rated for like -30. Um, yeah, like -25 or -30. So I'm very comfortable pretty much all the time, even during winter camping and training and stuff with it. And the bivy bag obviously does what it's supposed to do. So that's the way I do it. I mean, there's a bunch many different ways to skin that cat, right? But that's the way that I found to be the easiest and most economical is a good civilian cold weather rated sleeping bag with a military bivy bag over the top. Um, George Washington SNS Training has been putting out quite a few new vids. Yeah, yeah. Well, and One Shepherd, yeah, One Shepherd has like a high end media production guy now. They've been putting out some quality stuff. Yeah, and SNS, yeah, they put stuff out. Cole and Parker are great dudes. Um, Definitely worth going down there and hanging out with those guys and doing the training if you can swing the cash and the travel and the time. Um, Tornadoes. Oh, you're moving to Missouri? Mid-spring, you'll be living in Missouri. You're moving there. That's awesome, man. Missouri's a beautiful state. It is. That prepper. No, I'm not participating in Seer Challenge. I would be there right now if I were. I What I was doing, apart from contributing music that I have that they use in the Seer Challenge that Randall uses for that and stuff. Um, my camouflage brand, FRAC-T, Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems, was going to be a sponsor this year. Had some hiccups with the logistics though, getting some of the promotionals that I was going to send out to them. There were some pricing discrepancies and dispute going on, and it was just the manufacturers took way too long to get back to me, and I wasn't going to be able to get them in time to get them out to the guys. So next year I'll be a sponsor, a greater presence of sponsor in the Seer Challenge, but this year it's the music contribution as always and things like that. So no, not otherwise. No, I'll be a sponsor in the future, uh, present and in the future. Apart from the other ways that I contribute, I've done Seer training before. I'm good. um, George Washington love to have twin arrows. Moved to Howell County. I'm not sure what Howell County is. Um, Twin arrows. So what would you recommend? I had none of my gear, but I had a poncho and a jungle blanket and waterproof bivy. Oh, so you had the lightweight like patrol sleeping bag and a bivy. Um, in that case, it's layers, wearing additional layers to keep yourself comfortable. So, some thermal, like some long johns, some thermal underwear, to wear under, and then just put a clean uniform on when you go to get in here. The British method is what that is. Putting on a fresh uniform when you crawl into your sleep system, with whatever layers you're kind of balancing out. Um, so that way you're still, and that's what they do. They're still clothed then, so they can react, rapidly in the case something happens during the night, and then in the morning they change back into their daytime uniform, the worn uniform from the day before. So you still always have a rotational change of uniform. You just have one clean one to keep your sleep system clean, um, while still having that capability, but it's also layering as as a tertiary thing when trying to mitigate being cold when you don't have necessarily the proper type of sleep system stuff to keep you warm. Um, I mean, the poncho's good. It's obviously you're going to use that as your covering unless you have a separate tarp for your shelter or whatever, and then you can use the poncho as a ground sheet. You whatever, but yeah, like that kind of thing. Um, Also, what do you recommend for warming layers on yourself, and what material do you recommend? Wool is always king. Wool is king. Um, it's one of the only materials that can get wet and still insulate you, keep you warm. And it's a natural material. Wool is fantastic, but otherwise for like other types of like thermal layers and stuff. I mean, like the Redbird brand stuff that you can get at Cabela's is fine. The Armor Under Armour brand stuff is fine. Like those are what I use for thermal layers under clothing. Otherwise, like a wool sweater, nothing beats a good wool sweater. And you can get surplus ones for pretty cheap, and they're fantastic. They're super comfortable and they're great for a good portion of the year. You know, wool is king, and then wool socks, of course. Merino wool, thicker wool, whatever. You can go Cabela's, Grip Six. Uh, some people like the Darn Tough. Whatever. Merrill, whatever. There's a bunch of brands for good wool socks out there. I get the Cabela's brand wool socks; they're fine. I've got some Merrill brand ones; they're fine. Like, yeah. So like wool is still king in a lot of ways for that stuff. For overwarming layers, like that's where polar fleece and stuff is fine. But like your under layer, and again, throughout the day, depending on how much you're exerting yourself and sweating and stuff, you're going to be donning and doffing layers. Um, but you're usually pretty good with like a t-shirt, a wool sweater, and then a uniform like BDU top over that. Um, and you're pretty much good to go. If you need to wear a field jacket or a thin rain shell or your poncho or something over that, fine. You know, but that's a good balance of mitigating layers without having to get too crazy donning and doffing all the time. As far as like the top half goes, bottom half thermals, and then uniform pants. And then if you're in the snow like I am, that's when you have the over whites over that, which are a polyester based material. Like the True Timber is one of the best examples of that, and they're waterproof. So like that kind of thing, like just balancing it out. Like a lot of the time, you don't need to have as many layers on your legs because they're doing a lot of work all the time and they keep warm. It's your feet you got to worry about, and then obviously your hands and stuff, but and your core a bit. But it's just balancing what works and what doesn't based on what your climate is, and things like that. Um, okay, hold on. I missed a couple of comments here. These are great questions you guys have. Georgia, okay, saying hey to each other. Wish Doc Larson would post more often. Yeah, he's been very busy and he's been publishing books and stuff. If you go over and check out Lightning Press, he's been putting out a lot of publications lately. Apart from, being the owner and behind closed doors Wizard of Oz admin for everything One Shepherd. So, apart from the other stuff he does. 20 hours moving your entire family to Missouri mid-spring. Just want to be ready for the Midwest winters and summers. The winters aren't nearly as bad down in Missouri as compared to up here. It still gets cold. You still get snow, but um, it's much more. It's still pretty moderate, so it won't be a terribly drastic change for you, but it will be colder in the winter. So it's just that kind of thing. Um, from Missouri on up, flannels are common, good flannels, wool, like that kind of stuff, for this time of the year. And the summers get hot. I mean, typical humid summers like what you would see in the Carolinas and stuff. It's, because there's a lot of moisture in the air from all the foliage and all the water, fresh water around and everything. So, it's hot and humid, you know, expect temperatures between the 70s and 90s most of the time. Southern Missouri can see 100 sometimes, but not terrible. Up here, I think the hottest we saw Well, actually, with the heat index, we did see a couple of days that were 100 degrees, but again, that was just like the additional heat index on top of the actual temperature. Most of the time, the hottest it gets is like 98 degrees up here, during the short summer that we have in Wisconsin. So, um, the rest of the time, it's much more moderate, and comfortable. Not a big summer fan though. Oh, I love my winter. Once you move to Missouri, do a semester one Shepherd. Yeah, Alpha Company's out there in Ullman, Missouri, which is beautiful, beautiful area. George Washington love a medium weight grid fleece. Yeah, they're solid. You know, um, it's a great overlayer. For keeping you warm. That's where fleece shines is for overlayers like that. It's really good stuff. Tornadoes. Got a house and everything. Hey, congratulations, man. I'm still house hunting myself. Friggin' economy. Well, we can get into that later. But no, congrats, man. You'll be close to your brother. Oh, okay. I didn't know your brother lived out there. Be able to make all the Midwest training events, training. Yeah, awesome. I sent you an email, twin. I sent you an email and I messaged you on Signal, with links for uh, camo printed material. Yeah. Yep, it's just, the money. Thankfully, some of the material types, I should say all of them from Rainier Fabrics are not expensive, which is nice. Um, and they do half yard minimum, print to order orders. So if you only need half a yard, for something like a sweatshirt, um, you probably want, well, like a hoodie, a hooded sweatshirt, you'll probably want a yard. You'll have some left over, but you can use it for other things, like just to give you an idea. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Mama Bear does making some gear with the material. The purple wool always wears holes, unfortunately. Yeah, it depends on the knit. Depends on the wool type and the knit type. Some wear faster than others. Yeah. I mean, I've had some of these pairs of Cabela's wool socks I've had for several years and no holes, no issues. They're fine. Um, y- you definitely do want to kind of consider, like, the thickness, because there's different thickness types, with wool as well. If you need something thicker for if it's going to be colder or whatever, but like the thinner stuff will wear a lot more. But I've not really had any issues with wool wearing holes, nor with like sweaters, like no problem. So light to medium weight merino wool layers are awesome. Yeah, I've got some of the First Light fusion hunting camouflage. That's some of my hunting camo that I use. And I've got their lightweight merino wool hoodie. It's super comfy. It's fantastic. Um, very, very comfy. Um, so when I went to light fires, didn't know what I could fly with or would have had on my gear. Would have been a whole lot more comfortable. Everything I had in kit was borrowed from him. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, if you have a packed ruck, as long as you don't have ammo or anything in it, like, yeah, you can check that. You can check that luggage. That's fine. You can fly with body armor and stuff. You can fly with firearms too, but you have to check those as well, and you go through that whole process. There's some Pegasus test, and some other guys have some great videos on there about the whole process of flying with a firearm in a case. And it's heavily regulated check luggage. But you can, yeah. Dead prepper, just buy a freezer suit. Those can get expensive too. I mean, they're cool, but yeah, they can get expensive too. Yeah, options are good, especially, y- even when it gets really cold, you can get away with a fairly nominal amount of layers, to deal with the cold. Again, it just depends on how much you're exerting, how cold it is, like all those factors. But I don't know, it's pretty easy peasy at this point. Uh, 20 euros. Once you came home, I had a list of putting on Amazon, waterproof poncho, waterproof bivy, all the kinds of new gear. Yeah, check like Sportsman's Guide and Venture Surplus and all those too. You can find some good discount prices at a lot of places, and check eBay. You can find it a lot of good price stuff, that's in good condition. Um, yep, merino wool socks are amazing. They're fantastic. Um, 20 euros. It's like a 10-foot by 10-foot tarp because it's raining. Didn't have enough to cover your whole body. Just put your poncho as a shelter, and had to sit and install a knife. Or yeah, yeah, you're a big dude. You need a bigger poncho than that. Um, cool thing is you can just order however much yardage of like a poncho type material like sil poly or whatever, and then make your own. That's not out of the question, especially for a bigger guy like yourself. Or look for what's called a basha, which is like a Russian and British kind of style of tarp shelter. It's a bit bigger. That might be a way to go as well, and something to look at. Fetal decision. Definitely learned a lot about what you can and do or you can't do to survive. Yeah, hypothermia. It can be. I mean, you can get hypothermia at night in the desert. You know, hypothermia is a thing. It doesn't matter what temperature it is out. You can get hypothermia if the temperature shift is harsh enough, stark enough, and you're wet. So you always have to be cognizant of that. And again, that's why I say wool. Um, is great for a lot of things still because again, it's one of the only materials that can get wet and it's going to keep you warm still. It's going to insulate you. Um, it's one of the few amazing materials out there that does it. Um, but again, I, I'm a big proponent of poly materials as well. They're totally fine. Um, and especially because you can get my camouflage patterns in some of those materials for hoodie material, fleece material, all that stuff, and otherwise. FRAC-T-Camo.com. No, it's through Rainier Fabrics. So, but in the proud partners section on my website, you can just click the icon of Rainier Fabrics and it takes you right to their website as well. So I got that all linked up. And I should be getting a W Woodland pattern padded sling in from Swift Design and Textiles in my pattern soon as well. He's hooking me up with making me a promo sling in my material in my pattern, so I'll be able to showcase that soon as well. Um, Dead prepper need to learn how to not break a sweat in cold weather. Yeah, exactly. And part of that is layer mitigation. Donning and doffing, as well as just wearing the appropriate types of layers. But also, yeah, it's just sometimes it's inevitable. You're going to have to work hard, and you may end up sweating at some point. But then it's like, how do you dry out? How do you warm up, dry? Keep warm and dry out. So that's just as important. Um, which is why you always got to have extra pairs of socks. A backup set of gloves. Um, apart from the layering discussion that we've been having here. So, um, wool glove liners are fantastic. Even the like standalone gloves that are waterproof or DWR or whatever and are insulated, they can still soak through. I've had that experience with a set of my winter gloves. Um, so having a change of gloves to say again, a wool glove liner and then a flight glove as backups or whatever, that's smart to do. Um, have those backups. Um, leather glove with a good liner works wonders for your hands. Is a lot of my gear military surplus or civilian? About 50-50. When it comes to like again like base layer clothing and stuff, a lot of that's civilian. And then just wearing like uniform over it and stuff. My ruck back here, ruck. So that's a Tasmanian Tiger, long range raid pack Mark III. So it's an internal frame ruck, more of like your long Bergen Jaeger pattern style ruck. Everything fits on there, and I just lash the sleep system to the outside. Works fine. Um, But yeah, like base layer stuff, like, yeah, a lot of that civilian stuff, like, they've done it right, especially when it comes to, like, so your outdoor sourcing stuff, whether it's Cabela's or REI or whatever, like your mountaineering gear, LL Bean wool sweater, they make a commando sweater. So, you can still have that military, aesthetic element with a civilian supplied wool sweater, you know, um, apart from surplus. I've got plenty of surplus stuff and plenty of, you know, newer gear that I've purchased and whatever. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like that kind of stuff, like, yeah, mix and match, you know, um, aftermarket, camo printed hoodie, as a layer, like when it's cooler out, but not like super cold or whatever, like it's fine, you know. It just depends. So yeah, but a big mix of stuff, it doesn't matter. Like my field eating utensil is one of those Cedo Summit titanium long sporks. It's the best eating utensil out there. You can get that at any Cabela's, you know, like it's awesome. Um, it's like stuff like that. I use S-bits, so with the Triaxane solid fuel tabs. Um, they have a little bit of an odor to them, but I can carry a lot more fuel for that than I can carry around bigger cans of like jet oil gas or whatever. I have a jet oil too, but I typically don't take that out with me in the field. I take an S-bit stove. Um, and something else for people to realize, especially in extreme winter and in superb, like deep winter conditions, when you're out there for an extended period of time, everyone's gonna have to make a fire to cook, thaw, dry stuff out, warm up. Like it's a survival thing. It's just an understood nuance across the board. You know, Russians are gonna do it, Ukrainians do it, like they both do it. And it's the same for anywhere else, especially when you're in a climate like I am, uh, with long, harsh winters, you know, you're gonna have to make a fire at some point. Um, You can go, up to a week with being fairly comfortable not making a fire, but you're gonna start hurting after that, especially because, when certain clothing gets wet, you're trying to dry it out in well below freezing temperatures. It's just gonna turn to ice. It's not gonna dry out. So you're gonna need to find another way to warm it up and dry it out. That's one of them. Apart from, cooking and stuff. Again, fuel sourcing that you bring out in the field is finite. I can bring 50 Triaxane tabs, and I'm gonna be a lot better off than somebody who's got 2 things of jet oil fuel, that's gonna last them maybe a week. You know, 50 small dry fuel tabs are gonna last me a lot longer. But even that'll run out. What do you do then? You're gonna have to make a fire to cook, to melt stuff, make water, boil food, all that stuff, you know? Um, because that's another thing with winter conditions, like you have your standard water consumption, but you should be intaking warmer liquids every once in a while, whether it's just warmer water, broth, tea, coffee, that kind of stuff. You got to have a way to make that somehow. And if you're out there in extended periods of time, um, even up to a week and or if longer, you know, survival is a thing that's going to happen. So people are going to have to make fires. Um, Gen X Gemini, old school Metallica or Megadeth? Megadeth. Yep. Like the first 3 Metallica albums, I mean, they're fine. Everything after is not good. Metallica, Megadeth, I would go for Megadeth. I like their riffs more. I don't like Dave Mustaine's voice very much. It's unique, but I'm just not a fan of like that whiny kind of voice like that. Um, but yeah, overall though, Megadeth. Yeah. And the fact that, Megadeth and Metallica were basically the same band at one point because, Dave was in Metallica back in the day. Um, that prepper favorite piece of cold weather military surplus. Cold weather military surplus. Wool sweaters. You get yourself a surplus wool commando wool sweater. Um, and then secondarily to that, the bivy bag out of a military sleep system. Because like I said earlier, using a colder temperature rated civilian sleeping bag, a single bag, and then fitting that in a bivy bag, you're sitting pretty, you know. That's my favorite configuration for that. So those are definitely up there for the top two. Um, Obviously, like polar fleece beanies are great too. I've got a couple of those. Um, some of my old issued ones, and then aftermarket ones I bought and stuff, and just little things like that here and there. Um, yeah, like I said, I use the Esbit stove. My primary eating utensil is the Cedo Summit, is civilian, mountaineering titanium long spork. Um, I also have a backup French Foreign Legion eating tool. That thing's pretty cool. You can find those around online. That's also a really cool little item. Um, it's kind of a multi-tool, but it's got the three utensils that you kind of like clip into it and stuff, and you can use it. It's not as long as like an MRE spoon or the Cedo Summit or anything, but it's a nice little backup, and it's got other stuff like a bottle opener and stuff on it too. So yeah, just like things like that, they're solid. Gen X Gemini, favorite cold weather boots. The Danner US made line, they're called the Trophy Hunter boots. They're like 600 GSM weight, uh, insulation in them. Like they are heavy duty. That's for like deep pack snow work, without having to do a Mickey Mouse overboot. I'm not a fan of the overboots. Um, get a solid, well-made singular boot that has good insulation, um, and is waterproof and stuff. It will take you a long way. There's a couple other brands out there that make some really good boots, but that one in particular is one that comes to mind. That's a really good cold weather uh, pack boot. Um, but it's also good for military applications. So check that one out from Danner, the Danner Trophy. Uh, I don't know. I can't remember if it's Trophy Hunter. I think it's just called the Trophy boot. Um, it's a really good boot. Um, and that's their US made line of boots. So it's well made. Um, Nick's boots also has a really good cold weather boot, but those are insanely expensive. Also handmade in the US. Um, the Danner ones, the price is a bit better on them. They're still not cheap, but I think they're like $430 boots. But they're well worth it, for the price. Um, yeah. Alternatives, I mean, you can get away with just a standard leather boot as long as you have a good amount of insulation that you're providing for the inside. So doubling up on wool socks and things like that, like you'll be okay in most conditions. Um, Especially in places like Missouri and all that. Like that's fine actually. Um, but if you want some and you're expecting to be dealing with a lot of snow and cold conditions, like an insulated boot like the Danner is the way to go. Keep them coming. These are great questions, great topics. Yeah, that's good stuff. Hey, Ogre or 10 gauge, what's up, man? Better late than never. Gen X, your Mickeys are in your get home bag. There you go. That's a good spot for them. Yeah, if you end up having to walk, you know, and brush beat through snow and stuff like that. Those are good to have for that. Um, there's also again, there's other like surplus and military Gore-Tex line boots and stuff that are fine, like standalone cold weather boots. Bates makes some. Uh, McRae, like a bunch of the typical a lot of the typical like name brands for military boots have cold weather boots as well. So I mean, you pick the litter, you know. The Mickeys are fine in a pinch. I'm just personally not a fan of them. 10 gauge. You find anyone who put the camo on the plate carriers yet? Um, so the material is out there for gear makers and DIYers alike to make plate carriers if they want. I'm always in talks with various gear manufacturers of various kinds. So I'm always linking up with new businesses and stuff and talking to them and be like, hey, let's get something going. Um, as far as a plate carrier goes, I don't have a specific company right now that's lined up that makes plate carriers that's on board, but there's a couple of companies that make chest rigs and other things that are coming on board. And again, Swift Design and Textile was one of the first businesses to come on board, and he makes excellent products. Um, Probably going to reach out to Midwest Armor, which is out of Tennessee, and then maybe Javelin Concepts and a couple other guys who do make plate carriers and stuff. Um, about that in the future here. Again, kind of going through the process to talking to a couple of businesses right now and everything, and also talking to another textile printer that does nylon provision for other material types as desired by various manufacturers. The stuff that's available through Rainier Fabrics, again, Cordura HP, 1000 denier, there's 600 denier. There's all the stuff there to make plate carriers as well, apart from other soft goods. So it's just finding a manufacturer that wants to get on board. So it's a process. The scalability is slow um, in a lot of ways because it just depends on what the manufacturer is capable of, what they want to take on for additional production and partnership and stuff. Um, Time of the year matters, like a lot of that stuff. So it is a little bit slower this time of the year, but this is also a good time to expand that line of communication with companies and stuff. Be like, hey, let's get something going for first, second quarter of next year, like that kind of stuff. So it's a process. Business, this type of business stuff doesn't happen overnight, but so far the pace has been pretty awesome. Um, there's another gear maker. Well, he makes like jackets and anoraks and stuff. He's on Instagram, but talking with him, Sunshine. I forget the rest of it. Sunshine Customs, I think is what it's called. He's going to be picking up some FRAC-T material to make like some anoraks and jackets and stuff, which is really cool. And some of the materials like windbreaker and stuff because there's windbreaker material and all that available there. Um, and then yeah, there's Swift. Um, Talking to Shepherd Associated. Starting to talk to ProWorks Gear. A couple other companies as well. So again, it's just a process and the scalability and things like that. So slowly getting that expansion of companies and businesses that'll be adding FRAC-T to their line of product options. So Gen X, most of your stuff is military surplus from back in your wannabe days. Hey, dude, it works, man. It's well made stuff. Lynchpin Supply, thanks for tuning in, brother. AK is better than AR. In many ways, I agree. Piston Gang, Piston Gang, Piston Gang. Or I guess I should do it this way. Piston Gang, Piston Gang. You know, yeah. I'm starting to talk to ProWorks Gear. Pat Riot. Yeah, I think I beat you to the punch there. Yeah, I'm talking to again. It's that's one of the good things about like Instagram and stuff for the business marketing side and having a business page and everything is connecting and talking to all these people. I've also talked to TJ with Refuge Medical. I also talked to some of the guys over at Born Primitive. They make uniform stuff. Um, they're very compliant uniforms, so they're all US made uniforms. They're cheaper than Cry. They're still not cheap per se, but it might be an option in the future to work with them on that. But they were really trying to push, having the foreign made stuff in Honduras made uniforms for potential partnership. And I'm like, I'd prefer to, support US businesses and US jobs and have it be all American made. All the companies, all the businesses that I'm starting to network and work with right now, made in USA. So um, that's kind of a priority. It's a somewhat principled thing for me. One of the company values, but it's also just a preference. Um, I really want to see that strengthen here in the country. And I love seeing all the DIYers that just make custom stuff for themselves or whatever. And if they want to make a business out of it, fucking do it. It doesn't have to be big, like Swift Design and Textiles. I think he's a one-man show, but he makes awesome products. Uh Freaking, Bug Out Bushido. I don't know if the homie's in here or not. He's eventually going to start a business he makes awesome gear, you know. Um and he and I collaborated together to make the FL pattern in my line of camouflages. He was like, this is what I want to see in a pattern, for my region. And I was like, let's do it. So it's like that kind of stuff. But like, you know, if you have some motivation and you have just a little bit of resource, and then have the skills to make stuff, you can make it work. There's a lot of these smaller businesses that are on Instagram that I'm talking to and stuff, and I love supporting small businesses because mine is too. But just out of principle, mom and pop shops and small businesses need to be supported. I love seeing what these guys are doing, so I want to see more of it. You know, um, if that helps distribute and disperse a more variety of options that a lot of people are talking about, which is again one of the big reasons why I started my camouflage brand in the first place, is because people wanted more options on the market that wasn't fed camo, or something surplus that didn't quite fit their region or whatever. And it's so more options for everything is good. That's the American way, and that's what people want. So it's like, okay, freaking do it up. Um, Gen X Gemini, should you make it your chest rig? Should you make a chest rig? I mean, make a chest rig, man. Do it. I want to see it. Dead Prepper, coffee or hot chocolate? Ooh, hot chocolate, man. I love hot chocolate. I love coffee too, but hot coffee gives me heartburn, so I limit my hot coffee intake. Hot chocolate though, or hot chocolate with a little coffee in there. Little mocha hot chocolate. Fantastic. Come on, let's elevate it. Linchpin. We're only a 3-man show. Exactly. I love to see it. Everyone needs to go check out Linchpin Supply. I know Coyote, and I know you guys have been, slow recently with, some things going on and all that. And I can't wait to see what you guys have in the future. Let's talk about adding FRAC-T to your line of options, especially if you're, getting some more of that production, domestically. Let's go, dude. Let's go. I'm excited for you. I love you guys, man. You're great. I wanna just keep it going. Keep it going. Gen X Gemini was a reference to your last video. Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'll have to go watch it later. George Washington, you prefer Solomons over what, Merrills? That's fair. Solomons are great too. I've run Merrill Moabs for a long time. Have not really had issues with them. I like the Merrill Moabs. Solomon's are great too, though. Even the Keen, even some of the Keen brand stuff is fine. As far as footwear goes. Yeah, I like the Merrill Moabs. The Solomons are good. Moabs are my daily wear footwear. Occasionally I'll wear Thorogood, which is a boot manufacturer here in my state. They make really good like duty boots and stuff and whatnot. And yeah, so Linchpin, you run Amazon Prime boots? Yeah, that Chinese child slave labor. or Bangladesh, wherever they're made. I know Nike was in hot water for a long time because it was child labor in Bangladesh making their shoes. Uh, hey, if the Amazon Prime boots work, man, they work, and that's why another pair of boots I have are the Tactical Research Belleville. It's a sub company of Belleville. They're Kyber, Khyber. They're Kyber boots. They're fantastic. They're super comfortable. I really like the aggressive tread on them. And they're really just really, really comfortable boots. I'm flat foot, so I wear wides, and it's like walking on a cloud in those things. Fantastic boot, and they don't cost that much. They're really good boots. George Washington need a swamp school for one shepherd. So Charlie Company in Florida opened up, or is in the process of opening. Um, it's on an old National Guard base down in Florida. So One Shepherd's Charlie Company is opening. And then some of Delta Company, Brent's property, where Delta Company for One Shepherd is now in Texas, some of his property is swampy. It's pretty swampy. So you have options of two different companies of the four with One Shepherd now that are going to have jungle element to them or just swampy element to them. Yeah, the Belleville Light Assaults, those are great boots. Best fucking boots in your life. Yeah, dude. I ran the Kybers. They're not here. They're out there. I've got a pair of my old surplus issued army boots over here. Um, but the Kybers are fantastic, just like that. Dude, yeah, the light assaults and the Kyber boots are awesome. Even their tanker boots are nice. Because they have the with like the strap and the buckle, the tanker boots. Like I saw dudes wearing those. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Belleville uses the right insoles and everything. Like they're just super comfortable. Yeah. And they don't cost that much. Those are really good budget boots. So, yeah, hell yeah, dude. I love them. I love them. They're fantastic. Um, yeah. I had a pair of Oakleys, some of the Oakley Tac ones back in the day, and they fell apart in like 6 months. They were dog shit. You're just buying the name with those. Um, but the Kybers, the Belleville, the Tactical Research or Belleville Kyber boots, and like yours, the light assaults and stuff, they're fantastic boots. They're really well made and just really comfy. Yeah, yeah. My pair of Kyber boots that I have, I've had for over 10 years. Yeah, they're still going. I don't wear them every day anymore, but I mean, there were several years where I wore them every day and I still didn't break them. They're just good boots. Um, and it's the same with the Merrills. I am gonna have to replace my Moabs here soon, but I've been wearing those things for dailies for years now, and they're fine. Smoke them if you got them. Um, yeah, there's a lot of good footwear out there, foot gear out there. Earlier I was talking about like insulated stuff for like winter conditions, in the snow and all that. But yeah, like standard dailies or your standard tack boots and stuff. I mean, dude, Belleville's jungle boots are good too. And they're one of the few companies still making a jungle boot. Like, good to go. Um, yeah, just fantastic. Yeah, good stuff. I was just checking to make sure I didn't miss any comments in the chat. Nope, we're good. I'm all caught up. Awesome. All caught up. Any topic, any kind of question, fire away. Anything you got. Keep them coming. These are great discussions. I've already burned an hour. That's fantastic. Time flies when you're having good talk with people. Um, I was out at my buddy's place today. So that video I made a little while back, a big old white oak had crushed his neighbor's RV, and we were finally pulling the rest of the trunk, which was like 1,000-pound section of trunk, off of the RV today, and doing some cleanup. That was fun. Gen X only caught up because you're at work. I have slow mode on as well, though. It helps me keep track of the chat and to keep spam bots away. Yeah. Hey, Levi. Thanks for tuning in, Levi. Yeah, great firewood. Absolutely. That portion of trunk was pretty good. He'll get some good firewood out of it. It fell over because it was rotting. The core rotted out on it, and it fell over. So, there was some good wood on it though, for sure. So yeah, and we had last year we had taken down two like 40-foot ash trees on his property on the property he's on, um, and dried and prepped all that and taken took a maple down. Um, Couple birch trees. Like there's a lot of great hardwoods here. And then there's some elm and stuff too. The elm is good. And then there's like a bunch of other like more junky wood like poplar and stuff, but that's good like fire starter wood and it burns down to ash. So it's okay to mix in. Um yeah, a lot of good firewood though. Yeah. You do tree work. I used to do tree work. That was one of my first jobs before the army. Um, yeah, and my buddy, he's actually starting a tree service, and then 10 gauge in here does tree work out in New York State as well. Um, yeah, that's awesome. I like doing tree work. Like that was outside of like the military and security contracting and stuff. That was one of my favorite jobs, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy going to help him out on the property he's on and do that stuff. Is honey locust wood good for anything? Uh, I know that and black locust are used a lot for like fence posts and stuff, like your typical like farm field like barbed wire fence posts. Like it's used a lot for that. Um, yeah, it keeps you in shape. Just dude, the groundwork is some of the hardest work. Yeah, you're hauling rounds, you're splitting them, you're hauling limbs, you're doing all the cleanup. Like, yeah, that's a lot of work. It's practical fitness, and you're doing it every day. You know, I prefer that any day over going to the fucking gym. Like, yeah. I love splitting wood with an axe. It's a great workout. Hauling rounds, great workout. I mean, my buddy and I, the two of us, I mean, we can haul a 350-pound log, log PT shoulder carry between us. We can freaking do that. It's it's because and some of those like with the white oak or red oak or whatever. I mean, those rounds they're heavy, especially red oak because it has a lot of moisture retention. Takes a long time to dry out, but hell yeah, yeah. Hand splitting wood. Excellent workout. I don't know, chopping wood's just fun. It's a core it's a core genetic memory that men must chop wood. I love it. But like yeah, the white oak and red oak rounds and even maple rounds and stuff. I mean, yeah, they're freaking heavy. You're looking at, 75 to 120-pound rounds, a lot of the time. If you cut them a little shorter, then it's, somewhere between 40 and 80, but still, I mean, that's a great workout. I love it. Yeah. And my buddy is actually sharpening my tree axe right now. I got one of those nice husky tree axes. I know there's everybody has their say with what kind of tree axe they like and stuff. Honestly, I've had really good luck with the husky. I like Fiskars a lot too. Um, some of your Swedish brands like Grand Fours and all those, they're great too and everything, but I don't know what it is, but for the price, like the husky axes are fine. Fiskars splitting balls are fantastic. I mean, the Finns do it right with those. And I also use their tree saws, like their in my like field kit and everything. Fiskars folding tree saw, best hand folding tree saw out there. I don't care about silky and all that. The Fiskars are fantastic. They have a better tooth profile on them, and they just bite better. They You know, they hog more out than a silky. Keep them coming, folks. This is great. Steel. Yep, steel makes a great handsaw as well. I agree. Nothing against their chainsaws either. Pretty solid chainsaws. My buddy and I, we run Echoes. Those are great chainsaws too. But no qualms with the steels. But yeah, their handsaws are good too. Yeah, they have got a pretty good tooth profile on them. Yeah, and there's a nice thing about steel and Fiskars. Replacement blades are cheap, like, and they're good quality. You know, they're well made. Like, you can get some bespoke or bougie line thing. That's fine, but C4 does work well on trees. Get some deck cord, a little deck cord. Although you actually need quite a bit of deck cord to take down uh, a substantially thick tree. Um, when you're doing like a LZ, like a landing zone clearing with deck cord, a lot of that time you're looking for thin trees like dogwood and stuff, or thin dogwood and stuff like that. You do a couple of wraps and daisy chain it around, and then you can clack and clear. Um, with a large tree, something like a white oak or a maple or something, you're going to need a lot of deck cord for that. Um, it's not a simple couple wrap job with trying to use deck cord on that. Yeah, when you actually use it, shit breaks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. uh, great topics, great discussions here, guys. Keep them coming. I know some people are kind of bouncing in and out, but yeah, freaking whatever topic, question you got, fire away. These are great. Really burns the time up. Flashlight of preference, Streamlight ProTac 2Ls. The 1Ls are great too. 2Ls. I got a bunch of these. They're fantastic lights. You're working and lurking. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Lurker of Chalice, another great band. Speaking of lurk. ITP makes a great line of lights. Never used ITP. I've used Streamlights for a long time now. And before that, I've had Streamlights on it. I've had Surefires on and off too. They're okay, but just for like handheld lights, I mean, for the price and stuff, you just can't beat the Streamlights. Martin G Blast, what's good, dude? Thanks for tuning in, Metal Brother, the Blast Master. What's up, man? How you doing? Something for you next week. Aposticum, one of the bands I'm in, blackened death metal. Full length album, Sounding the Seven Horns, comes out on Friday, the 21st. Weird question. You ever get into arm wrestling? I mean, I've arm wrestled before, but not like in a professional capacity or anything. No. um, yeah, arm wrestling is the thing. I mean, we would do it in the army too. This is one of those things, you know, joking around, having, just messing around, having a good time and stuff. Um, but beyond that, no, not really. I've seen professional arm wrestling, and those guys' arms are crazy. Talking about tree trunks. Uh, I think for my weight class, I'd probably do okay, but yeah, no, we're good. Great quote unquote combat sport, right? Uh, Levi main light is a Phoenix. Okay, okay. I heard those are all right. Goonbeam. Goonbeam makes great flashlights as well. Highly recommend Goonbeam. They're great flashlights. Yeah, combat sports. So my background with like combat sports is a mix of things. Yeah, Goon Beams are solid, man. The price is good on them too, dude has awesome products. They're well worth it. Um, yeah, they're solid. Combat sports. So my background, a little bit of Muay Thai, and then military combatives, and then kind of a combination of that and just general like kind of mixed arts, but with the Fairburn principle. So gutter fighting, actual combat oriented combatives. All the nasty stuff that you can't do in an octagon or whatever, but applies for the street and combat theater and all that. That's kind of my background. I do instruct a little bit, but Will Sherland, anyone who knows Will with Gutter Fighting Secrets, he's a good friend of mine. He's just kind of getting back into doing stuff on YouTube and everything. And he was over in Thailand for a year uh, training Muay Thai to be a professional fighter. He's back in the States for now. I think he's going back over soon, but he's a really good friend of mine. And yeah, be sure to check his stuff out. Oh, you just lost your Boyd knife from DLD? Damn. Does he have I don't know, does he have a warranty? Can you get a replacement? That sucks, man. No. Pretty decent knives from everything I've seen. Mark G. Blast, interesting stuff. Can't say much, but I've been getting interested in the art. Dude, yeah, no, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of combinate systems out there to take up. Looking at combatives and stuff like BJJ is fine in one regard, but you have to have something alongside that, whether it's Muay Thai or something, because BJJ is just ground game. So you have to have something for while you're standing. And I always recommend to people to train knife fighting as well, you know, and other practical combatives like that, apart from practical fitness stuff. But like it's usually you want to do a combination of things. So if you just go and do MMA training, that's great, but make sure you're adding combat art to it too. Gutter fighting and things like that, because that's MMA in general is a well-rounded training system, because it is such a combination. Um, and it's a good way to go. But there's always a little dash of spice that can be added. Um, especially for the stuff that's going to help keep you alive in a real world situation. Levi, you'll just buy a new one. Yeah, I mean the price is right on them. So I'm stoked for DLD. I'm glad it's the business is doing well for him. So Margie bless. Your brother has trained BJJ for a while. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, my brother, he trained combat hapkido, which is a South Korean uh military combat martial art. Um, so think like aikido, but way nastier. He trained that for several years. Um, that's one you don't see too often anymore. But like that kind of stuff. And then there's like other cool systems like Silat, which is a Indonesian martial art. Combines martial art and knife fight. Obviously you have like the Filipino stuff. Um, I mean, even freaking HEMA, historical European martial arts. There's a lot of applicability there, you know. Um, something to check out, doing that and getting in some armor and whacking the crap out of each other and stuff, and then doing combatives along with it, because that's a thing. That was a thing all through history. So, you know, they're like combining them. So like all that kind of stuff's really cool. Obviously, I love my historical stuff. I have a giant spear back here, and I have swords and all that stuff too. I love my historical martial weapons and sharp pointy things as much as I do boomsticks. So, you know, um, Levi, they need fixed blades. Yeah, that would be cool if DLD had fixed blades. I've talked to him about that before. I have an old Tops fixed blade. It's actually a fantastic knife. Tops makes good knives. If you really want to spend the cheddar, Spartan blades. Their Prince George dagger. Oh, it's like a modernization off of like your World War II commando dagger. Oh, it's beautiful. Fantastic blade. Really, really good quality steel too. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Um, yeah, I love all that stuff. Levi grew up getting shit beat out of me by my older brother. The dick would toss me off the second story balcony. Great fall training, little backyard wrestling action. I'm the oldest, so I I imparted that on my younger brother as all brothers do, you know. But yeah, story all this time. But like, toughens you up, you know. The back when childhoods were good childhoods and you freaking went out and played in the mud and beat the crap out of each other and did a bunch of stupid shit and wonder how you're still alive. That's good times. Good times. Gen X Gemini, I'm sure you know the story behind the Fairburn Sykes dagger. Yes. I also have a V42. I have the Boker Plus V42, the Devil's Brigade dagger. Um, I got one of those a while back. Obviously not something you use on the daily. That's more of a just to kind of have kind of thing. But I mean, it's got the skull crusher spike and everything. Because like the FS knife doesn't have the skull crusher spike and stuff. Like the V42 is kind of an iteration off of it. Um, a cheap version of it. Yeah, the Boker Plus one wasn't bad. It was like $100 when I got it, which Boker Plus doesn't even make anymore. Um, Now it's only case, which the case ones are expensive. And there's one other like really cheap like Indian manufacturer that makes them. That's like, you know. The Boker Plus one, it's got that German name on it. It's one of their Asian manufacturers that makes that one that made that one, but really good quality. No complaints with it. Very nice knife. And it came with the for special service, the Devil's Brigade patch and everything. Like it came with a patch and all that stuff and a really nice case and all that. It was worth it. Yes, very familiar with Fairburn and Sykes and all that. Yeah. Um, yep. And then of course other dudes like Applegate, you know, guys like that. Um, Another kind of a somewhat modern variant of like Fairburn gutter fighting and stuff is Wolf Combatives, Wolfe. Bill Wolf out of Canada. His combative system has a lot of similarities and stuff, and he takes a lot from Fairburn and stuff, and then kind of his twist on it. It's actually a really, really good system. Um, Wolf's Combatives is really good. Um, there's a couple others out there. A lot of people talk about like Krav. The Krav Maga that you learn in the US is nothing compared to actual military Krav Maga that's trained to Israeli military forces specifically. There's a different variant taught at a company out in Vegas called CRI. They do other training like bodyguard certification training and like all that stuff too, private military contractor training stuff and all that. But CRI offers a system called Krav Hanag or Haganah. I think it's Hanag. So it's kind of similar, but kind of their take on it for um, that real world applicability. Much better than any other like Krav that you're going to learn in the states. If you were to kind of go that route, CRI has some good programs. Um, Dead prepper, canteen or water bladder? Nope, canteens all the way. I still have a Camelback. My original Camelback from the military and stuff. Um, Canteens, canteens all the way. Um, because I keep a canteen on my chest rig, and then I keep at least another 1 to 2 canteens like in my day pack that I have, plussed up with my chest rig. And then on my rock, there's 2 slots on the sides for canteens, and then you can put however many more on the inside that you want, And I've got like 6 canteens. Um, and then a couple of insulated thermal canteen bottles for cold weather stuff. But yeah, canteens all the way. Um, just Camelback bladders do not do well in winter. So they're a no-go here for a large portion of the year to include right now. Um, yeah, they're just more of a pain in the ass, you know. But I mean, if you run a Camelback or bladder or whatever, fine, yeah, go for it. You know, it's just you know, for my preferences, yeah, I prefer canteens. Um, yeah, I can carry more water with canteens than just a single bladder. So Jack Daniels or Jim Beam. If I have to pick of the two, Jim Beam. Not really a fan of either though. Um, if I'm gonna go for a whiskey, I'm gonna go for an Irish single malt like Napoke Castle. If I'm gonna go for a bourbon, I'm gonna go for Bibb and Tucker. If I'm gonna go for a Scotch, I'm gonna go for something like Ardmore. Lagavulin all right too. Ardmore's really good. Um, yeah, there's a lot of good whiskeys out there. Um, Also, like Buffalo Trace is all right. You know, a lot of people like Buffalo Trace. Is definitely a top shelf. Angel's Envy is all right as well. Bibb and Tucker for a bourbon is probably my favorite though. Um, ooh, don't drink a lot of whiskeys though. Um, Even though you know through the distillation process, majority of the time they should be gluten free. But if they're a rye whiskey or anything, I can't. I don't. I typically don't drink them. I try to avoid them because you know, they can mess me up. Gluten free, not by choice. Corn whiskeys, fine. Um, yeah, typically for like a liquor, I actually go for a well made vodka. Um, Hanson's of Sonoma out of California. They make theirs with grapes, but it's a really good, just straight up spirit, a vodka. Um, Perun, which is a Serbian made copper still vodka made from sugar beets, really good as well. Nice sweet finish to it. Um, Zupełka, which is a Polish vodka with bison grass in it. I really like that one. Um, nice nice earthiness to it, but it's got a really good sweetness to it. And that one is great because you can drink that one straight, or you can make all kinds of really bomb mixers with it and stuff. Um, but mostly mead. I'm a big mead guy. Love my mead. And also like for beers, of course I have to do gluten free now, but my favorite types of beers are tripels and quads. Higher ABV stuff. Like I don't there was only a period of time where I bothered with like Coors or anything, and that was very short lived. Heineken's okay. I, I wouldn't even drink that all that much. Most of the time, I would cook my brats in Heineken, bratwurst in Heineken. It's it's a Midwest thing. Heineken's great for cooking brats in. Good flavor. Uh, let's see, Ford or Chevy? Toyota. Of those two, um, I grew up with my grandpa had a 60, was it a 68 or a 72 Ford pickup, and I loved that thing. So he was a fuel truck driver for a long time. He drove grain trucks too, but he was a fuel truck driver for Blick and Blick Oil Company. So he would haul around like kerosene, oil, gas, and all that, and like all those combinations of smells in his work truck, but then his pickup as well, and just like that old classic vehicle smell. I don't know what it was, man, but and that truck ran forever. He ended up finally, I think he sold it to a restorer because the body was just rusting out so much finally in like the late 90s. Yeah. It was like 98, 99 maybe when he finally got rid of it. You know, maybe it might have even been 2000 that he finally got rid of that thing. But that old Ford truck just ran and ran and ran. He took care of it too. He was a big gearhead, obviously. Taught me everything I know how to work on vehicles, but um, that thing just ran. So old Ford pickups are awesome. Um, had a had a buddy whose dad had one of the Chevy Colorados. That was an okay little pickup, very much like a little Ford Ranger, you know. Which my grandpa, who had the old Ford pickup, also had a Ford Ranger for what, 94 Ford Ranger. That was a great pickup as well. Great truck. Um, Very reliable. They don't make them like that anymore, especially when it comes to Ford or Chevy, unfortunately. Which is why I say Toyota. I'm a Toyota guy because it's just reliable. I love my 4Runner. It is a super reliable vehicle. Um, it is seeing its age though. Um, yeah, the S10s are good little pickups. Chevy S10s are good little pickups. The older ones, they're fine. You know, easy to work on. They just run. You know, it's like the old Blazers, the SUVs, the old Chevy Blazers. Like those are fine too. They just run and run and run and run. A buddy of mine in high school had one of those. Um, but like, yeah, I have an '04 4Runner, still trucking, but I just had to have a bunch of work done because again, showing its age and parts wear out and stuff. Just had to have a bunch of work done on it. But trying to keep it as running as long as I can. They're just super reliable. The engines are fantastic in them. Transmissions are great. You know, um, 2000 Blazer. Yeah, nice, nice, classic, man. Those early fourth gen, late third gen like era. The same with my 4Runner, like that era. Like they're great. As much as like all the '90s stuff and the late '80s stuff, like fantastic vehicles. They just run. As long as you maintain them well and stuff, like they'll work for you, you know? Um, yeah. So those mix of great vehicles. But if at some point in the future I do have to get a new vehicle, it's gonna be a Tacoma. Just of all of the like smaller to mid-sized pickups out there, that's the best one that's made currently. It just is. You know, everyone's like, "Oh, I want a Ford Raptor or whatever." It's like, yeah, okay, cool. They have all kinds of problems with them. I've seen no less than 3 have their engines explode on them. So fucking no. I'm gonna get what I know is reliable, which is a Japanese US made Toyota, you know. In 97 S10 has 273,000 on a 4-cylinder. It doesn't leak or burn anything. That's awesome. Yeah, my I've got a VVT V6 in my 4Runner and I'm at I think what 254,000 miles or something like that on it right now. Yeah, just no problem. No problem. Levi, like any Jeeps 99 and older. Yeah, older Jeeps. Yeah. Yeah, those late 90s, early 2000s Jeeps, even them, like I know like the Cherokees and stuff, because my one of my exes, her dad had one, and they had serious transmission issues, which have bled into continued to be an issue in all of the newer Jeeps as well. For the most part. Yeah, older Jeeps, cool. Old Land Rovers, old Land Rover Discoveries, awesome. You know, love those things. Gen X 96 X10 with 95,000 on a Vortec V6. Man, that's pretty low mileage for a 96. Yeah, that thing's running, got to be running like a charm. I take it that's just like your farm truck or whatever, you know? That's pretty solid. Yep. Those old Vortec engines, pretty good. Levi, you'll be purchasing another older Jeep here shortly. Oh, cool. Yeah. My cousin who was fifth group special forces, he had a Jeep Wrangler for a long time. That was fun as hell. That was what year was that Jeep? I think it was a 96. Yeah, I think it was a 96 Jeep Wrangler. Fun as hell. Just rolling around with the doors off and everything. Yeah, it was a good time. I think he still has it, actually. Yeah. He still has it. Now that I think about it, I just talked to him the other day. He still has it. Gen X, hell yeah. Only paid a grand for it. Dude, winning. That's winning. Older Jeeps are great. Yeah. And like I said, like the old Land Rover Discoveries, man, I would love one. I would love one. Like anything between like an 87 and a 90, 95, 96, like Land Rover Discovery would be awesome. Got the Ranger seats in the back and stuff, like the classic snorkel, like just that classic look, just that vehicle that you saw rolling all over the place, all over Africa, and like the UN used them, and obviously in the private sector security world, like where I'm in, they're all over the place, and you see up armored ones and stuff. They're fantastic. I love them, and they're just super hard running vehicles. Never had a Jeep, but you like them. I mean, can't go wrong with like an old Willys. Or like late 70s, 80s Ford Broncos as well. Those were pretty sweet. Uh, Ex-Navy Blackwater alumni buddy of mine who's private investigator, worked for his private investigation firm for almost 10 years, kind of on a per diem basis. He had an old Bronco like that, and an awesome vehicle. Once you buy one, you won't go back. Especially the Jeep community in particular, the Jeep culture and the Jeep community in particular is a very unique one. You know, it's a very unique one. It's kind of like with like motorcyclists and stuff. Like you see another Jeep, you give them the wave when you drive, and you're like, oh hey, like Jeep owners always wave to each other. You know, and it's the same with motorcyclists. They always wave to each other. Yeah, that's cool. That's some cool stuff. Keep coming. Got about 30 minutes left on the live stream here, and then I'm gonna go eat supper. Which is funny talking about brats just a little bit ago, like cooking brats and beer and stuff. I had brats last night and they were delicious. If you have never had a brat or a bratwurst, get a bratwurst. Johnsonville, get some Johnsonville brats or some Shermake or Clements or Usingers or whatever brand. But like, get some brats. Way better than a hot dog. And I do love my Vienna beef hot dogs, but brats, can't go wrong with some brats. I started to wait for this to usually ends up like that. Not many S10s around anymore, so I mean, there should be a community there, but now, yeah. Nope, ain't having it. Ooh, Levi, ate venison backstraps again for a second night? Dude, venison backstraps? Nice. Our deer season starts this weekend, actually, for gun or standard rifle and shotgun deer season starts this weekend for us. Yeah. Yep. Starts Saturday. Yep. Where you at, Levi? Let me know where you're at. I am in Wisconsin. So we only get a week for gun for deer. Um Standard. And then there's a week for junior shoot, and then there's a week for disabled shoot and stuff. And then there's a later week for doe. But archers, freaking archers get from like October to end of February. It's ridiculous. Michigan. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right next door. Yeah. You get it. You get it. Yep, right across the pond. Our pond. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yep, yep. Both our gun deer seasons start this weekend. I think Minnesota's does too. Um, yep. I don't. I mean, I freaking haven't had a chance to get tags, so might go on one of my buddy's tags. But Gen X, Indiana. Okay, okay. So you're on the south side of the pond. Our pond. That's cool. Finally, some fucking Midwesterners in here. I was gonna deal with all these Southern guys. No offense, but Midwest is best. Come on, come on. You know we do it right. So you guys know the glory of brats. A lot of these other guys. It's like it's funny because I did live in Texas for a few years as a kid, um, but we had lived in Illinois and Wisconsin stuff before then, and then moved back. But our family friends in Texas, um, so my parents and their parents, they kind of have like a bet going on whenever the football teams they like play each other. I don't give a rat's ass about football whatsoever, but the bet is funny. So if if my parents' team wins, then they send them like a care package of all the stuff from Texas, and if they win, send them a care package of stuff from Wisconsin. So they always hope that they win because then they can get us to send them brats. So brats and cheese curds. So it's like, yeah, that's a good incentive, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, usually Levi, usually just bow, bust out the muzzle loader. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Muzzle loader. Yeah, muzzle loader was last either last week or 2 weeks ago. And then the junior disabled hunt and then standard. Yep. Brats are king. Exactly. Thank you. Brats are king. Bratwurst ist Krieg. Brats are awesome. Yes. Yes. Brats any day. Um, you know. Guppy Gilly Suit. Hey, dude. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions, topics of discussion, throw them in the chat. I will be happy to answer and rant about them. Whatever. Gen X, there's more than corn in Indiana. There's meth. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem all over. Yeah. It's a thing. Yeah. Especially in places where it's so cold for so long, people are bored and got nothing to do. So then they do dumb shit like that. So it's terrible. No, Indiana's cool, especially Eastern Indiana, Southeast Eastern Indiana. I freaking love when it starts getting into like the foothills and everything, getting towards the Smokies and Appalachia and everything. Like it's beautiful. Um, and then like some near kind of the Great Lake and like some of the River Valley area and stuff. You get the bluffs and everything. You get really cool terrain features, and we have those here too. It's really cool. I like them. Howdy, y'all. Hoosier National Forest, yeah, and we've got Checkamaquan National Forest, which is huge. It's in a couple of sections, but it's huge further north. We got a lot of really good big like state parks and stuff too, and state natural areas, SNAs. Also, we have like the Ice Age hiking trail, which is exactly as it sounds. It's a glacial cut features all throughout the state, and there's this whole like connection of hiking trails through the entire state. Um, they go along these ancient, you know, uh, trails and marks left in the earth from the glacial flow back in the day. It's really cool. The forests are awesome though. There's beautiful forests, and um, we have a couple of different kind of like archipelagos of terrain features, throughout the state. So yeah, it's really cool. Um, a whole lot to a whole lot to do, and check out, you know. National forests are always a good time. And the state natural areas are really cool too, because a lot of them, a lot of them, only a portion of them have like hiking trails and stuff, and the rest of it, like if you want to go explore, you're brush beating or you're following game trails. Like there's nothing out there otherwise. Like it's awesome. I love it. Yep, a lot of state and federal land in Michigan too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, there's a lot to take advantage of that people need to, and to go enjoy. Like there's a lot there. You know, our state parks are awesome here. There's one not terribly far from me. I did a video a couple of years ago now at um that we did a big hike in it. It ended up being about 12 miles of trail up and down and switchbacks and stuff, and it's some very hilly feature. Smokes your hips and legs. Um that was a really fun one. There's another one that I did a video on a little while back. It's some of it's state park and then some of it's actually connected. It shares a border with some federal land as well. That's a really cool spot too. Really cool trails. Yeah, they're all over the place. It's awesome. Um, yeah, yeah. Uh, love it, love it. You know, and then of course, like apart from like all the hiking in the forest and everything. I mean, the fishing. I mean, come on. There's so much good fishing and otherwise, like in these states. Obviously the hunting is phenomenal. But the fishing is great too. Whether you're going to go fish out on Lake Michigan or you're going to fish any of the rivers or trout streams or whatever, like they're abundant in this region. They're fantastic. Gubby Gilly suit. What is the best full beer can to shoot at 200 yards? Butt light or butt wiser? Sorry, I'm going to hell for that question, but I just wanted to try a little humor. Shoot both, because both suck. I am a bit of a beer snob, and I will admit it. I really, if it's under 6.5% or 7% alcohol by volume, I don't want it. Like, no. Give me like a Tripel or a quad. Like, that's my jam. Much like Andrew, that's my jam. I don't do that piss water beer. So go shoot to your heart's content with the crappy, sorry excuse for beer that is really just water. Go have fun shooting all that. I will give you a recipe though. So with a better domestic lager, so maybe like if you like if you like PBR or Blatz or something, or you do a Coors or something, it's called the Milwaukee Special. You take some Cholula hot sauce, you put a couple of dollops in your beer with one of those domestic types. It's like a poor man's Michelada almost. It's like a spicy beer. It's actually really good. Put a couple of dollops of Cholula hot sauce in there in some of those weaker domestic lagers. Quite delicious. Gen X about to go to lunch. It's great hanging out. Hey, take care, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Have a good one, Gen X. Don't work too hard. Go McGilly. Sorry, sir. Just wanted to see if I can get a chuckle, buddy. Oh, you got me chuckling. You got me chuckling. You don't gotta call me sir. I work for a living. Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's good stuff. Yeah, no, I talked about it a little bit earlier, like some of the different alcohols and stuff that I like and brands and stuff. But yeah, when it comes to beer, like all that low ABV cheap cheap stuff, yeah, shoot away. Let it return to the earth and become water again, so that it can then be made into something better. Exactly. Sometimes you gotta spice things up. A couple of dollops of Cholula hot sauce in a typical American domestic lager, like Budweiser or whatever. It actually elevates it quite a bit. It's quite tasty. Linchpin Supply. Let's put an AIM Sports vertical grip. Your Romanian wood handguard and your AK via M-lock. Looks sweet, kind of like a dong. Oh, sick. Very cool. I always like the Romanian forehand. Yeah, that's cool. I thought about getting the cheese grater top forend for my Zastava, but I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it. I got the maple furniture on it. It's really pretty maple furniture. I like it. I keep it like camel wrapped, camel form wrapped anyway, but you make one out of a soup can. I mean, you could theoretically. That's true. You're not wrong. I mean, I got my buddy Hunter, Railwolf Machine Works. He could make me one too. That or just get like an SLR one, whatever. But I thought about it. I was like, no, no, I'm not going to. I like the maple. I like the maple wood. It looks good. Soup cans are a vibe, especially when you use them for communication. String soup can. Hey, good soup can take you places, you know? Gabagilly, love my demeanor. Oh, thanks, man. And I do apologize. Don't apologize. Don't worry about it. Sometimes people don't get your humor. As well just try to keep things on the light side instead of being serious all the time. Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate the levity. I appreciate levity. Absolutely. You know, I was serious. I was a serious person for a long time. And it took me a while to uh I mean, I've always had like a sense of humor and I love, comedy and funny movies and all that, but like it took a while to lighten up, you know? You you gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy yourself, and hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Friggin' you gotta find I love gallows humor too. I love dark humor, you know. It is definitely a forte of mine. But, like you just gotta have a good time. Have good banter, freaking there's a lot of things in life that people get stressed out about that is out of their control. Obviously things to pay attention to, but you can't let it freaking ruin your freaking life, Like go enjoy life. Have fun, Friggin' tell jokes. Or friggin' goof around, as much as whatever else, that's the other thing about socialization nowadays too, a personable demeanor, a personable character, it takes you a lot further than being totally insulated and introverted and ingrained into this freaking screen in front of your face. I hate smartphones. I do not have a normal typical smartphone. I don't do anything internet wise with this thing, you know. If I'm doing stuff on the internet, I'm at my computer. Besides basic communications, text and call, I'm at my computer. Like otherwise, I don't do anything with it. I'm out in my environment, in my element with people doing things, Like time and a place. Different generation, with that kind of thing. It's I'm not nearly as engrossed in the tech as a lot of people are. So um Lynchpin, I heard they took the FAL carry handle off because the 308 shell casing deflected off of it and put a soldier's eye out during the Bush War. Um, I've heard that story before too. Um, my Bush Warrior FAL from DSA didn't come with a carry handle on it. Um, Now to contrary, I saw plenty of photos from the Bush Wars, um, where they did have the carry handles on them still. I think that ended up just being a preference thing. Um, Interestingly enough, or maybe just certain units did it because I saw other units that had them, would carry them. So And it's the same with like SLR and L1s, like for the Brits and Aussies and stuff too, and all that. Even now with the ones like in Brazil and the ones that are still circulating and in use with a variety of different nations around the globe, uh, and their counterpart, guerrilla or enemy forces. Like some have them, some don't. Like it's just whatever. I do find that interesting though because I've heard that story before, so there may be some truth to it. But I mean, in contrast, I've seen plenty of photos of dudes that still had them on there, and would carry them. So I don't know if it's an old wives' tale. I'm sure there's some basis of fact behind it, but I think it just ended up being a preference thing. It's interesting though. I'm glad you brought it up. Oh, thank you, Guppy. Not sure about that. Not saying that didn't happen, but I haven't heard that yet. Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of. I think it's one of those things. Um, where there's probably some truth to it in some degree or another, but at the same time, like it didn't really matter in the end. It's like I said, my FAL from DS Arms, uh, the specific model did not come with a carry handle, but I've got a Blue Force Gear Vickers padded sling on it. So um, great sling, by the way. But I'm really looking forward to putting the Swift design and textiles FRAC-T W pattern padded sling on it very soon. As soon as he finishes making it and sends it to me, for my own personal and promotional uses for the FRAC-T camo brand. So Swift right now, Swift has the W and the MU, so the woodland and mountains and urban patterns, um, of some material in stock that he got. So if you want any of his products in one of those two patterns for right now, of my Frac T camouflages, hit him up and he'll do a custom order. That goes for anyone in here and for anyone that rewatches. Have a thought of doing a gray nighttime camo. So I was kind of toying with a night camo design for a while. It kind of ended up going to the back burner. Um, in the stead, the W, because it is a slightly darker brown dominant compared to, standard multicam and things like that. It works well for at night. There's also the HW, the heavy woodland is very green dominant. There's some gray in it, and it has some black contrast, kind of crackling lining in it as well. That's good for nighttime use as well. Um, Otherwise, just wear black. Like it's I was toying with it for a while. I was toying with it with like a black base with a couple of greens and browns kind of splotched over it. But I was like, it looks okay. But I was like, some of the other patterns really kind of fit that capability and use, like for nighttime. Otherwise, like just running black or whatever. Um, Maybe in the future I'll release a variant, um, in a darker colorway that is for nighttime use. But yeah, I've got the 10 other colorways and patterns right now, so I'm just kind of focusing on those. But some of them have a good applicability for nighttime use. Um, Apart from just the other stuff that is commonly accessible right now, whether it's just straight black or MCB or whatever. So yeah. So I had a prototype concept design for it, but I just wasn't happy with it, and it was just like, I've got 10 others I'm already kind of focusing on. So black and gray M81 would be badass. That would look pretty cool. I mean, it would be easy enough for me to just change the colors on that on an M81 swatch, and I could send it to you, for example, or whatever, if you wanted to actually print that. But I know because there was like that urban version. which wasn't an official one, but there was like that urban variant, years ago that had like the gray that was the grays and stuff. Um, I mean, if Linchpin wants a signature, something even a little bit different than that, but if Linchpin wants a signature nighttime camouflage design, we can talk because I do commission work as for FRAC-T camo and just as a graphic designer. I do commission work to design camo patterns if you want. Um, something collaborative or otherwise, but yeah, I mean, there's other options out there, but yeah, like some of them have really good uh, compatibility for nighttime use, like HW. It's just it's a good pattern for that as much as for like in the Pacific Northwest and your dense woodlands and things like that. So where there is typically a lot more shadow and canopy cover and stuff. It works great for the jungle too, obviously. So but yeah, black and gray M81 pattern would be cool. Um, or something. Coyote, you and I we'll talk a little bit more about that in our personal communications about that. I mean, we could probably work on something. I mean, there's plenty of places for you to be able to source to get it printed, to get yourself some rolls, to make stuff with or whatever. I don't know. You have to fill me in on some of what your uh, manufacturing production capabilities are with some of the switching over and shifting that you're doing. So yeah, we can talk about that later though. More than happy to. All right. Just about 10 minutes left in the live stream here. So, anyone else has any other topics or questions, fire away. We'll do a little round robin rapid fire round here, and then I'm going to go make supper. So, whatever you got, fire away. Also, right now it is autumn and winter. So, anybody wanting to pick up the A pattern or the S pattern, S for snow, A for autumn, of FRAC-T camouflage patterns, they are available through Rainier Fabrics in various material types to make things for yourself as you need and see fit, and DIYers and whatnot. So, oh, ooh, 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 my back just cracked like 8 times. That felt good. Anything else y'all got? Fire away. Fire away before the end of the live stream here. Got about 8 minutes, give or take, left. Keep them coming. Ba, 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 ba. I'm just going to make animal noises until a topic or question comes up. Again, next week, Aposticum, Sounding the Seven Horns, full length album, Blackened Death Metal for fans of Belphegor, the demigod apostasy Evangelion era of Behemoth, fans of Vader, Morbid Angel, such and such. Aposticum, next week. Full length album drops Friday, November 21st. Yeah. And check out FRAC-T, Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems on Instagram, also the websites. Practical Rifleman. Better late than never. What's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in for the last 7 minutes of the live stream. Glad you could pop in. Freaking, you got any questions quick? Any topics? Fire away. Gubby Gilly, I've been around for a little bit. That's all right. No need to apologize. Classic Midwestern apologies. It's all good. I'm gonna notifications off because keeping me up all times. Business is going well. I mean, it's a scalability thing right now. It's a slow process, but more manufacturers are coming on board slowly. So anyone that does DIY or any smaller uh, businesses that do want to partner and stuff, the printed material to order is available through the the uh, the one fabric retailer and printer right now, Rainier Fabrics out of Washington State. Couple of partners on board, Swift Design and Textile. They make awesome products, slings, pouches, all that. Um, and yeah, there's more I'm talking to and more that'll be coming on. Tact Wrap, Pete, he'll be adding products soon. Um, to his line with the camo patterns. Talked to Dylan, Citadel Defense. He would like to at some point add FRAC-T to his options for his chest rigs. Um, talking to Shepherd Associated, Sunshine Customs, a couple other companies as well. So the scalability, it's moving along. You know, it's a slow process, especially this time of the year, but that's okay. You know, no, don't be sorry, Practical Rifleman. Don't be sorry at all. You gotta do what you gotta do. Dad mode. Dad mode. Dad mods and sop mods. Long dialogue. Yeah, no, it's all good. No, don't Guppy. Don't apologize, man. It's all good. You know. Right, right. I don't know how much like DIY stuff you do, Guppy, but you can order by half yard with Rainier if you like want to make something for yourself. If you're kind of savvy with the sewing machine or whatever, like at some point, $10, like you can get some stuff for yourself and make something cool, you know? I always like seeing the DIY projects. I love seeing that. And I have a whole playlist of I think I've compiled my DIY project videos and my camouflage related videos together in one playlist on my channel. I believe I did that a while back. So be sure to go check out that playlist because I've got all kinds of cool stuff in there. Um, two more MRIs that I have to take in the next couple of ooh, yeah, those ain't cheap. Those ain't cheap at all. Hope everything goes well. Hope everything's going all right. Yeah, MRIs. I've had a few MRIs in my time too. They're not fun. They take a while, and depending on your healthcare, they ain't cheap either. You gotta do what you gotta do though. Health, and health is numero uno. So just make sure you're getting on the mend. Also, tactical muffin top. I don't know if he's in here or not. I hope he's feeling better. He just had a surgery. Practical rifleman. I hope you're doing all right after yours. ACR. Hey, welcome to the last like 3 minutes of my live stream. What's up, dude? Weather up here has been pretty good. It was definitely chilly for a couple of days. 25 degrees at night. Just above freezing during the day. Today was a little bit warmer. We're kind of getting this a little quick little blip of little bit of warmth, 40s, 50s for the next couple of days, and a little bit of rain, and then the temperature is going to drop again, and we should be getting. We already had one kind of snowfall. It didn't really stick around. Um, next, we're supposed to be getting a snowstorm. I think next week or the week after. They've been fine. It's been fine. Um, Deer season for us starts this weekend, so it's going to be pretty. A lot of guys aren't happy because there isn't snow on the ground, so it's going to be harder for them to see deer. But so far it hasn't been bad. But this season's projected to have a lot of snow for us, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. So better late than never. Exactly. Yep. Had surgery on Friday. Doing well. Still can't see very good. Well, hopefully that comes back with time. I'm glad you're doing good though. Wishing you speedy recovery. got a ghillie. Don't know. So I still have my ghillie suit, and I'd love to incorporate that into the gear for sure. Oh hell yeah, dude! Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to see it. Tag me, tag FRAC-T on Instagram and any photos or whatever. Um, if you're using FRAC-T patterns, everyone's saying hey to each other. Yep, yeah. Rifle season starts this weekend for us for the standard part of rifle season. Yeah, muzzle loader was 2 weeks ago. Disabled and junior was last week. Supposed to be 70 degrees. Jeez, that's wild, dude. Hey, take advantage of it while you can, right? Hey, see, you already been waiting for women at work to post videos of their feet, like talked about in your life. You dog. The dog likes them dogs. Beard is looking good. Yeah, thank you. Yep, it's growing out a little bit. Frack thongs. Hey, if there's somebody out there that wants to make swimwear and undergarments with Frack-T patterns, Bob's your uncle. The fabric types are there. Yeah, it'll be a little warm for hunting, that's for sure. Practical recommend. It'll be warm for sure. Yeah, it's gonna make it hard, but a lot of people will be out. Good for getting things done. Yesterday was 24. Yeah, yeah. Having that little bit of a dip, that warm air dip right now, and or warm air blip, and then yeah, it's gonna dip again. So again, we do need to meet up for drinks at some point in the future. Once again, scalability with the business. When that start getting some more stabilized regular income for the business and stuff like that. Yeah, be able to plan some trips and stuff. Probably gonna move. Um, I'm probably gonna move next year to try and find somewhere that's a little bit more affordable. Because pricing is just getting retarded here. So, yep, that'll help me save up money too. So, just in the area, just somewhere outside of the city here that just costs less till I can find till the housing market unfucks itself and I can buy a house. Because there ain't no way that's happening right now with the way the prices are. Um, yeah, just still the area, still the local area where I am, just somewhere more palatable that is more adequate to cost and less riffraff. You know. Yeah, just buy a house, man. Yeah, now when they're freaking 350, $400,000 for a house that costs 130 to maybe 180 to build. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't have that kind of money. VA home loan doesn't award that much either. You know. Yeah, 50-year mortgage. Yeah, fuck that. No dice. No chance. No chance. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things is this economy needs to get fixed, Ricky fucking tick. So nope. 308 house. This is a 308 household. Oh, well, it's 2 hour mark here. So with that, yeah, right, exactly, ACR. Yeah, no chance. No fucking way. Well, it's a 2 hour mark, so we're gonna have to close it out here. I have to go eat supper. With that, it was an excellent live stream. I appreciate all the phenomenal questions and topics of discussion. Always a great time catching up with everyone and being able to talk about anything and everything, and it's all good. Yeah. I'm glad you were able to pop in, go rewatch if you want to. But but yeah, with that, I appreciate everyone. Go check out FRAC-T camo. FRAC-T, Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems on Instagram, my website, and so on. There's fabric and patterns available. If you're a gear maker, select types of apparel. If you want to make those, fabric types are available. For next time. 340 KO cost me $12.90 a month here. Ouch! No way, man. Screw that. And next week, again, Aposticum, Black and Death Metal, Sounding the Seven Horns, full-length album. Friday, November 21st. It releases. Bandcamp, YouTube, all the things. Digital and CD. All right, guys. And everyone, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. As always, metal up. Out.